Hi team, I'm here in Melbourne the Monday after the first Formula 1 Grand Prix of 2018 and doing my first video blog. Sarah behind the camera, my wife. Still feels a little bit weird to say that. We've been enjoying Melbourne all week. Feels a little bit like home. I've made it very clear to the media from the word go that it's not a home race, but it's as close as I've raced at home in a long time. The week started off actually with a flight over Albert Park in a jet fighter, which was an unreal experience. The first time we hit 5G sustained, I was pretty unprepared and quickly told the pilot not to do that again. The blood rushed from my head, but it was incredible experience. We've enjoyed the late starts here in Melbourne, enjoying the city. Breakfast is my favourite part of the day. A couple of double shot flatties as well. Moving on to the race weekend. A lot of excitement coming into this weekend, a lot of anticipation, finding out where we stood up against competitors. Saturday qualifying is really the first time that everyone shows all their cards, shows you really what they've got. Free practice went really well. If I compare it to the end of last year when I made my Formula 1 debut, I was treading water. I was just keeping my head above. I felt really on top of it this week, working with the engineers, the mechanics, preparing myself mentally before each session. I had a lot of friends and family here as well, which is amazing. But on the other hand, I was wary to make sure I still had my own time to get my head in the right space to drive a Formula 1 car 300 odd kilometers an hour around Albert Park. How I did it this weekend, a bit of music, just every time I could take 10-15 minutes to myself, I took it to reflect, to think. And yeah, I felt really on top of that. Free practice 1 and 2 was good. I learnt the track very quickly. I loved it. Grass, gravel, wall, no room for error. That's what drivers want to see. Passing on this track was tricky, but the track itself was awesome to drive, and one of my new favourites. I've got kind of a list. Everyone asks me my favourite track, and I've got a big list now, unfortunately. Free practice 3, first time I've really driven a Formula 1 car in anger in wet conditions. That went really well. We were competitive. Myself and Pierre, my teammate, we were top 6, top 7 during that session. So that showed real promise for if there is a wet race, and maybe what the chassis has available mechanical grip wise. Moving on to qualifying, I was a little bit disappointed in some ways and happy in other ways. Lacked a little bit of experience on this track, obviously. We opted to do 2 runs. In hindsight, we should have done 3 to try and move us forward to qualifying 2. For those of you who don't know how qualifying works, there's an elimination process, so 5 drivers get knocked out of the first part of qualifying. Unfortunately, I was the quickest of those 5 drivers to get knocked out. I think a 1/10 would have moved me 3 places up and would have allowed me to fight in qualifying 2. So that was a little bit disappointing. On the other hand, I was ahead of my teammate, which obviously you're always judged against, but P16 left us wanting a little bit more. But I would still say it was a positive start for me in 2018. Next thing that springs to my mind, and probably one of the highlights of the weekend, was actually the parade lap before the race, where all the drivers have their own car and they drive around and basically wave to the fans here at Albert Park. And that was incredible for me to see the amount of support I had. I knew there was a lot of Kiwis coming over to support, and I thought I'd see a few Kiwi flags in the grandstands, but yeah, it was quite overwhelming how many, and it even felt like a few of the Aussie fans were trying to claim me as their own. So yeah, that was the first time I felt such support, and I really embraced it, enjoyed it, and yeah, I don't expect so many Kiwis to travel to all the races, but I really felt that support. The race itself didn't really go our way. I didn't have a perfect start, which was annoying because all my practice starts were pretty solid before that. I still got off the line. Going into turn 1, I locked the front brake immediately when I hit the brake pedal and couldn't get it unlocked. Basically, it completely flattened the surface of that front left tyre, and I had to box after lap 1. the tyre was completely down to the canvas, so there was no choice at all. It put us off strategy. Our original goal was to go very long on the first stint. One of my strengths in the car is looking after the tyres and managing them. So we went to the harder compound tyre after that first lap and decided we'd try and get to the end of the race, which still would have put us in a potentially good position. Unfortunately, after lap 20, we had something break on the rear of the car, on the floor, which not only lost us a lot of downforce, it also punctured the rear tyre, which meant I had to come in for another pit stop, and that was really game over at that point. So yeah, for a team's point of view, we didn't score any points. We knew that was going to be tough. It's a really tight battle from P10 to where we are. But there was loads of positives from the weekend. I felt like I managed myself mentally really well, working with the team, engineers. There's big updates planned, so we all remain positive for the next couple of months of racing. For now, I'm staying in Australia before Bahrain, doing a bit of a training week with my trainer, and Sarah's joining me too. So yeah, looking forward to having a week off and working hard, training before we head to Bahrain next week. I'll see you soon. Cheers.